You're listening to A Creative Excuse presented by Echo Amano. I'm Frank Rose.
And I'm Cara Duvall. This episode is with Julianna Kirwin, whose installation is on view now in Echo's front window through February 25th. I wasn't able to make it for this episode, but I think Frank did an okay job holding it down.
It is much more fun with Cara. In this chat, Julianna and I talk about her experience growing up with musicians for parents, nonverbal communication with her Polish grandmother, and finding the power of community through printmaking.
We'd love for you to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform or even leave a review. It really helps.
Thanks for listening.
Okay.
So, yeah, we've got this installation up in the front window. And it's interesting because it like really brings together a lot of your different processes in a way. I mean, it at least exposes a little bit more about what you do because we've got the blocks up there, we've got the aprons, we've got the wood cuts. It's a really cool way to kind of break down a little bit more behind the scenes of like what you do and what printmaking is. And so I'm really excited to have that up there. It's just a real different way to show printmaking, right?
Yeah.
You know, with the blocks and everything.
Absolutely. Well, you know, I noticed when people would come to my studio and they wouldn't maybe even know what a woodblock print was.
Yeah.
And so I'd say, oh, let me go get the block. I'll show you. You know, and then they'd be like, oh, I really like the block, you know.
Yeah.
They love the block.
Right.
Too.
I mean, it's so sculptural, you know. I
Yes.
mean, you really get a sense of how the thing is made when you can see the block itself, you know. Because sometimes, you know, you see the final result, and, you know, even just getting the fact that you're working in reverse is such a flip for people sometimes, no pun intended. But like, you know, to like, oh, you're going to have to work in reverse. Oh my gosh. You know, that's such a cool thing. And it's just transmitted instantly when you see the block.
Yeah.
It's
totally.
so neat.
And those blocks in the window are the direct result of the print. Like I printed very small editions, 5 or 6 from each block, and then just inked the block one more time and left it. So they're the exact colors and everything that I used for the prints.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Well, let's go back in time a little bit.
Okay.
Where did you grow up?
Oh, I grew up in the Midwest.
Yeah. And where, like in the Illinois?
Lincoln, Nebraska.
Nebraska.
Yeah, Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yeah.
I came out to UNM to go to school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
When was that?
That was in the 70s, mid 70s.
Yeah. And you did a show here a couple years ago that focused on your grandmother. And she was a big part of your life growing up, yeah?
Yeah.
And had a big influence on you moving forward. Can you talk a little bit about her and your relationship and how that influenced you?
Absolutely. Yeah. So she had my name. I have her name, Julianna. And so even though we did not speak the same language, she only spoke Polish. I didn't learn any Polish.
Yeah.
So that made it very magical because whatever we made, whatever we cooked, whatever tablecloth we put on the table, however, you know, washing the dishes, it was all nonverbal.
Yeah.
And so that's a whole other way of communicating. And it just became really special, like trying to figure out what she meant or, you know, how she would design something, how she would place things on the table or, you know, and kind of, I have a big imagination. So imagining where, you know, the old country and how she lived before she came. She came by herself at age 16.
Wow.
You know, so yeah, very, very brave of her.
Do you know what year that was?
I think it was around the 1930s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the ships on the down below part.
Yeah.
I forget what they call it. That's really hard.
Pre-World War II?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she got out before that
Yeah.
blew up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder, do you feel like that, sort of learning to communicate in a different way opened up, like, I guess, an openness towards avenues of communication like art making?
Mm-hmm.
That there are alternative ways of conveying what you mean to say.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like there was any connection there?
I do.
Yeah.
I totally do.
Yeah.
And as visual artists, we create our own language visually with our symbols, our colors, our palette. But yeah, I really do. There's something so magical about that, not having the same language. And then, just kind of discerning or picking out her world, what it was,
Yeah.
what was important to her, what she would choose to put on the table or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It just was, so interesting.
And you all primarily connected through cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Through cooking or, washing the dishes or.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And then she had her neighborhood. She lived in the Polish neighborhood where, I was amazed. I went to visit it again just about 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so amazed because there was still just a lot of Polish being spoken on the street.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and you'd go in the stores and you really, some you could speak English, but a lot of them are like, let me call somebody, who speaks English.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's still just very, very Polish neighborhood.
And is that because there's continuing immigration there? Is it because people have just continued to speak the language, or both?
I don't think there's continuing immigration. They've kind of learned to, make it attractive, calling it Little Poland.
Yeah.
And so I guess it's just the younger generations that are, still speaking Polish with their grandparents.
That's
and
so
their
cool.
Parents. I know, it was amazing. I had no idea. I thought, it's going to be so different.
Yeah.
It was different, but
yeah,
still keeping those traditions
that's
and the
amazing.
food and everything.
Yeah. Were your parents, did they do anything artistic? Were they involved in the arts at all?
Mm-hmm. Well, they were both musicians.
They were both musicians.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So there was a lot of music in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, constantly.
Yeah. And were they playing like traditional Polish music or what were they playing?
Classical
music. Yeah.
Classical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my dad played the viola. And went to, the schools back east to study viola and also to become a teacher.
Yeah.
He taught at the University of Nebraska. That's why we ended up being there.
Yeah.
And so it was, constant music in the background of my house because my mom was a pianist. So they would play together or, they had music groups. My mom was the music critic for the paper. You got to find other ways, like any artist.
Yeah, right.
You got to find other ways to make a little money too.
Yeah. Oh, how cool. Did you ever pick up an instrument?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played both violin and piano.
Oh, cool.
Until, college when, things kind of shift around and you have to decide what you want to do.
Sure. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. How cool is that? So that must have had a real influence in just like that sense of creation and liveliness in the home, having a big influence.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, the emotional quality of music in the background always, is different from, hearing the TV. So, there was always people coming to our house to practice or my mom giving piano lessons.
So a real community too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because especially, I think musicians are so great, especially, you're playing with other people, you're almost automatically creating a community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Thanks for bringing that up. That's probably why I'm big on community myself.
Yeah, that really makes sense. Well, and you mentioned the contrast between like a home where it's just a TV on all the time. You're seeing people make things happen. You're seeing people create. And I think that if you're exposed to that, you really get the sense of possibility that like, oh, wow, like these things, they don't come out of a vacuum.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's real people making them. And I think that's so important to put that together, to have those connections between the maker and the thing that's being made, whether it's music or visual art. It's so cool that you had that so present.
I feel very, very lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then were there other people doing visual art? What got you on the visual art track?
Yeah, I don't know. I
Yeah.
really wonder about that myself. Other than, my grandmother and her way of decorating the table and the things that she chose to have around in her home. Yeah, I feel like I should go, because her life is still kind of mysterious to me. I don't know that much about before she came. So I wonder if there was some distant relative but other than the arts of the Polish people, just kind of, I feel like we all have, in our makeup, we have the genes of our ancestors.
Yeah.
And so, maybe that was something that my parents didn't have, but came through me. And maybe it came from something. I have the feeling it came from the Polish side of my family.
Well, I think when you're exposed to that level of creativity, and it's like becomes something normal, you're just open to it. Right.
Yeah.
And so the idea of like trying a different medium or something like that might be just more accessible if you're already open to the idea that, creating is something that you could do.
Yeah. And then also, like, the Polish stencil art is very prominent, cutting the paper into shapes, very delicate shapes. And now I look at my work and I see how much I use stencils, and I hadn't even thought of that until recently. I'm like, oh.
Is that something that you saw before, or just sort of emerged?
I think it just somehow filtered in, this idea or this sense of using stencils, because I love the flat look of a print.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah.
More than maybe drawing meticulously. I like the red, almost like silk screening or something. Well, we're going to do the red, then we're going to do the blue, and each thing you have a stencil for.
Well, there's like an economy of information,
Yeah.
right? It's like being able to convey a shape or a form or a figure with like very few shapes and forms, And there's something really, I think, delightful if you're, even if you're not an artist and don't have that visual vocabulary. I think people subconsciously are delighted too by like, oh, there's not a lot here, but it actually conveys a lot. There's something really exciting about that. To take a few shapes and being like, oh wow, that's a human or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've studied more about the Polish traditions now, and they also use the stenciling on their homes, which I do with the wheat pasting.
Yeah.
I learned it in Oaxaca.
Yeah.
But maybe something, just kind of like, that resonates.
Yeah.
It resonated with me.
I always love driving by your house. Whenever I'm in the area, like if I'm going to the Hardwood or something, I'll always make sure to drive by your house. And be like, oh, what's on the wall now?
What's on the wall?
Yeah, it's so cool.
I feel so lucky. I can just wheat paste stuff up there and keep doing it.
They don't like that in Santa Fe.
Yeah.
There have some really ridiculous rules around what you can do and what you can't do with your house. Yeah. And so when did you discover printmaking?
Yeah, I discovered it in college.
Yeah.
And also I was part of an artistic community in Old Town in Albuquerque. It was called Sagrada Art Studios. And it was led by a nun who had been at the Villa Schifanoia in Italy. She had been the head mistress of that school. And so that's when I started doing that. Was way back then. And then there was another nun who came quite often, Meinrad Craighead. And she was a woodblock artist.
Wow.
So I saw her woodblocks, and that seemed interesting to me.
Yeah. And
so
did they have did they have a printmaking program at UNM at that time?
Yeah. Yeah, but I was in art education.
Yeah.
My parents said, you can't just do art. You're going to have to teach. So
It's a common thing of a
Yeah.
generation, isn't it?
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was way back then.
Uh-huh.
And then I had the honor of, so that place it's in Old Town. And the new people who are renting that building decided they wanted to honor Sister Giotto. And so Sister Giotto has passed away, but her nephew came over and said, hey, I've got these blocks. I've got these wood blocks.
Oh, wow.
And I was wondering if you could print them, and we're going to put them in the store there.
Wow.
So these old wood blocks, they were kind of warped, but I printed them and they showed them in the store there.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah, it was really neat. It was so neat.
Wow.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
That's been up the last year.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, so this was recent.
Yeah.
Oh, how cool. That must
Very
have been a
cool.
trip to kind of go through all of those blocks
was.
and imagine them
was.
making it. And
Yeah, they were very religious
Yeah.
saint images of the saints.
Mhm.
And then, since they were such old wood blocks, they kind of had some little cracks and things, but it gave character to the prints.
was she Italian?
She wasn't Italian, but I'm not sure how she ended up at Villa Schifanoia, but
Interesting.
yeah.
And do you have any
She's-
idea how they learned printmaking?
How?
The nuns?
Oh, well, she went to the Chicago Art Institute.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she was from Chicago.
Oh,
You could
cool.
hear it in the way she talked.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. Wow, how cool is that? And so printmaking, so that you kind of ran into it while you were still in college.
Mm-hmm.
And did you start making prints at that time, or did that come later?
Yeah, I kind of fooled around with it.
Yeah.
Made woodblock prints. And then later, after I graduated, I did silk screening for quite 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was, I had little kids, and it was something that was very accessible. I didn't have a press,
Mm-hmm.
and it was something very accessible to get set up.
Were you doing that at home?
Yeah.
The screen printing? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I did that for a long, long time. Seemed like a long, long time.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then eventually I got a press from Takach
Uh-huh.
and started learning these other processes.
Yeah.
Mostly in Oaxaca, learning it there.
When did you go to Oaxaca for the first time?
Well, I went there for the first time in 2006.
Uh-huh.
And it was the year
That was the year of the strike.
It was the year of the
Whoa,
strike.
that must have been
Yeah.
intense.
Yeah, and I had, knowing me, I had invited people to come. I gave a little workshop down there.
Wow.
And so, oh yeah, come to Oaxaca. I'm going to give this workshop, this printmaking workshop. So they came to Oaxaca, and I mean, it was like, oh, we're not going to go down that street because, the tires are burning there, and there's a lot of people there. It was really interesting to be there that year.
No doubt. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, and all the people were out on the street.
Uh-huh.
But what an interesting time to be thinking about printmaking,
Right.
because that's when the seeds of all those people that they wanted to make signs.
Right.
They wanted to make signs that they could hold up. And so the printmaking community, those that already knew the craft, were, come on in. Let's make signs. Come on,
Right.
So, so that's when a lot of the young people who now have workshops there and are giving workshops every day and have their places open, that's kind of when it started, really becoming a big deal in Oaxaca,
Right.
printmaking.
Yeah. That's so incredible that you were there at that time. I mean, so many of the younger artists that we work with are almost like second generation from that level, right? You have
Right.
the folks that were there making work or learning how to make work at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And then now it's just become so much a part of that city.
Yeah.
And thinking about the university there and how many of the young printmakers are now learning it through the university.
Yeah.
What an amazing thing. And so you've gone back pretty regularly.
Yeah.
Since then.
So I was there in 2006, and then I didn't go to Oaxaca for a while. I went to other.
I need a break.
Yeah, I was like,
that was an intense one.
No, yeah. So I went to Guanajuato for a number of years and other places, but then I started going back to Oaxaca quite frequently in 2018.
Yeah. Yeah. That's when I started.
Is that when you started?
Yeah. God, what an amazing place. And again, like for me, I didn't know, at the time it would become so much a part of my life. It was just one of those things where I was like, why? There are so many printmakers down here. What is going on?
Yeah.
And you learn eventually kind of like where that came from. But it definitely captured my attention and recognizing like how much action and activity was going on there and how much printmaking could do, like the kind of strengths of it and communication and the efficiency of like the economy of scale, being able to make work affordably,
right,
especially if you're working with a collective. Yeah, and it really made an impact. And the first time I went down there, I didn't know that Echo Amano would ever exist,
Yeah.
But it was like, wow, okay, there's something here.
Yeah.
It really grabbed me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they've all studied, or their forerunners studied with Takeda.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Japanese man who came to Oaxaca. I don't know when. He's the one that taught at the university.
Yeah.
That they pretty much all studied with. And
totally.
He's in his 90s now.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've seen his work. And it's just, he's just such a master.
Truly. It's really incredible. There was, I went down in November and there was an exhibition at the San Pablo Center of Japanese printmakers working in Oaxaca. So a lot of Takeda, but a lot of artists I had never heard of. But all Japanese artists that had been working in Oaxaca at some point or another, probably, encouraged to come by Takeda.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so amazing.
And he's so beloved.
Yeah.
He's just so beloved.
Well, and you can see it in like Alberto's work.
Yeah.
The influence there. So
sure.
I've had some people ask if he's Japanese. But there's a little bit of that aesthetic, that sort of, just a little bit of a whisper of like, there's something else going on here, You can see it in Alberto's work for sure. His other shopmates, Edith and Yvonne, maybe not quite as much. And then we work with a Japanese printmaker who works in Oaxaca, Misayo Tsutsui, and she studied with Takeda as well. And it's so cool to have these cultural fusions that happen, these new languages almost that can come out of the visual cultural languages that come together. I'm thinking of Jerome Nakagawa, the jewelry artist that we work with, that's Navajo and Japanese, and the way that those two cultures visually come together and create these new forms.
Yeah.
And I think what is so magical is when you have when it's something authentic, that it's a part of you and your background and where you come from and how those things can just naturally emerge.
Yeah.
It's so magical.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. And so I know that Oaxacan printmaking has had a big influence on how you work.
Yeah.
You mentioned the sort of communal aspect growing up, but also Oaxacan printmaking is so communal.
Yes.
You started a project, or a co-founder of a project called Her Story. You want to talk a little bit about how that came? Well, first what it is, and then how it came about.
Yeah, it came about. I was inspired by the community, the talleres, the workshops in Oaxaca, because I observed and I saw that hardly anyone has their own press.
Yeah,
it's a community press that belongs to that shop, and the people that are around that shop use it. And then also it's like, hey, Frank, I've got a really big piece. Your press is a little bit larger than mine. Can I use your press? everybody exchanges, come over, use my press, use our press. So, I was inspired by that model.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to try to create something similar here in New Mexico. So, so I thought about, I just invited a friend and it was International Women's Day.
Mm-hmm.
And I invited a friend over. She's in our core group.
Yeah.
And I said, let's do something for International Women's Day. And so we brainstormed and we came up with this simple way of making a print, not using carving tools, just using this sticky foam stuff. So a way that we could make a big print in kind of a more economical and a quicker way. And also that would be very, very visual.
Yeah.
It's very street worthy. You could be driving by and go, oh I see that.
That economy of form.
Yeah.
Just using a few shapes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's how it started. Because I was telling her how I had used this sticky foam stuff with kids, because you don't want to use carving tools with little kids, because they're gonna, in a public school, they're all gonna be going to the nurse.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So with that foam, you just use scissors. And you just cut out your shapes. And with the kids, they weren't making anything realistic. They were just cutting shapes and then putting them. And then you have a peel off backing, so you're sticking it onto another surface that's washable. And I saw that with the kids that was a easy way to do printing. So I was saying to Shelley, she's our core member, I was saying, well, I don't know, we could try using that in a bigger scale and do something for International Women's Day and maybe do some portraits of women.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how we started doing it. And it worked so well that we've just been using that technique ever since.
Yeah.
And then trying to model our collective somewhat after the Oaxacan collectives. We all come together to print, and we teach. We give a lot of workshops.
Yeah.
And then we pasting them publicly in the streets.
Yeah.
So, you've got to print on newsprint, because that's the material that amazingly holds up so well.
Yeah.
With somehow the chemistry of the paste and the thin paper merging it onto the wall.
Especially on Adobe, right? You get that texture or the stucco, right. It's like it's going to stick right in there.
Yeah. And then you have to use, oil-based inks, so it's not going to wash off in the rain. But so I was inspired by Oaxaca.
Yeah.
To start that collective, and also inspired by the Oaxacan printmakers in working large.
Right.
Because they're just so fearless about working large. And since they are wheat pasting on the streets, a lot of political messages, they want them to be large.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those makers, they'll have maybe two different identities of sorts, maybe in their public shop, they're selling prints that maybe aren't quite as political, but maybe at night they're out on the street wheat pasting. You know, I think a lot of them kind of want to create a little bit of a mask of their identity, right? Because it's not always legal. Yeah. And so you're doing some workshops, you're showing people how to do this. So technically you're cutting the foam, maybe you're putting it on a piece of gator board. Magically those things appear around town in November usually. There's a nice plethora of maybe supplies available. I don't know. I have no opinion on that. But you can find those and maybe use those as a surface. Yeah. And then, so after that, are you applying ink with a brayer? How do you technically make the print after you have the foam applied?
Yeah, we're applying the ink with brayers, and then you're just putting your newsprint down, and we have a portable press that we can bring with us to workshops. or people can hand print
Yeah.
with a baron,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because we're not necessarily printing them on the press, although sometimes we do at my studio,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
print them on the press, but they don't have to be printed on a press.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I loved about the project is that, you're bringing attention and light to certain women, certain activists that maybe haven't gotten a lot of, attention
Yeah.
before. And I love that, you can do a portrait, move on to another portrait, move on to another portrait. So you get this sort of like expansive, almost library of portraits that
Mm-hmm.
people can learn about who these women were or
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, we've done over 200 portraits now, not all ours.
Yeah.
Because when we give a workshop, people choose who they want to make a portrait of.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes it beautiful because, like you say, there's such a variety of women that we have, have been done now.
Yeah.
And we just did this project last summer where we gave 3 public workshops, and the public came. We didn't invite or anything. The public came,
Yeah.
and they chose who they wanted to do. We said it had to be an Albuquerque woman
Uh-huh.
because we had gotten some funding for this in Albuquerque. So it's just so great to see, and sometimes it's just someone, this was my dance teacher when I was a
Yeah.
kid, or, this was my neighbor, and to bringing their lives into a big portrait is so nice.
Yeah.
Just so wonderful. It's seeing them honored that
Right.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you did one with Axel as well, right? Our friendly
Mhm.
mobile
Yes.
gallery.
Yeah.
We pasted the whole side of the van, right? Was it
Mhm.
inside too?
It was outside on all the outside
Yeah.
parts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
That was
it
so
was
cool.
inside. But yeah.
Yeah, I love
Yeah,
that.
it was great. That was one of our first kind of public where we got more notoriety than we'd ever had before,
Mm-hmm.
because we were just kind of working on our own before that.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a great exposure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, coming back to your own, personal practice, how can you, if you can, talk about how that communal collective process of making kind of folds back into your own personal process? Do you see ways in which it influences that?
Totally. Yeah. Because I think printmaking really lends itself well to that.
Mm-hmm.
So like I've done projects with my neighbors,
Mhm.
a lot of projects with my neighbors, where these were adults. So for example, the lampposts on my road all have prints that were made by my neighbors, and I just showed them how to do a little wood block. And it was something to do with Mountain Road. That's the historic road where my studio is. And so they chose what they wanted to do. Somebody did the little, what would you call it, little train that ran, not really
Mhm.
a train, but the little trolley,
Mm-hmm.
the little trolley that used to run there. And somebody did, a famous poet that lived nearby. Someone else did a boxer that,
Mm-hmm.
that lived in the neighborhood. And then we just blew them up, onto big plastic, had them blown up onto a plastic, photographed, and then onto plastic, and they're hanging on the banners of the lampposts.
I love that.
So
It's so cool.
so I think printmaking just lends itself so well to public expression.
Yeah.
And people love to do it, and they're always surprised. They come in sometimes shyly,
Mm-hmm.
thinking, "Oh, well, I'm not an artist,"
Right.
and then they do this beautiful thing that they're very proud of.
Yeah.
And then to see it in a big scale,
Uh-huh.
is really great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. I love
Mhm.
that. One of the things that I feel like is, of course other people do it, but I feel like is sort of a signature for you is your trace monotypes.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to talk about how those are made? Maybe explain what somebody's looking at when they see one first,
Yeah.
and then how you make that happen. What is a
Okay.
trace monotype?
Yeah, so I call my apron prints trace monotype prints. There could be other names for them, object prints, or But yeah, it's a way of drawing or communicating an image, the information onto a paper in a very indirect way. So in the apron prints, I have a piece of plexi that I'm drawing the outline of the apron onto with a marker, and then I'm inking up that shape. So maybe I'm putting the band of the apron in a different color, and maybe there's some ribbons on the apron I'm putting in a different color, or the pockets, or, so I'm inking that up however I want to do it. And then I'm putting down a very thin paper, something that, a thin printmaking paper. So like a Kozo, for example. And then and this is on the press bed. I'm doing this all on my press bed.
Yeah.
And then I'm just laying down that apron that I used from the beginning to make a drawing from on top of the paper.
So no ink touches the apron.
No ink touches the apron. And I can kind of see my drawing that I've done underneath. I can kind of see where to place the apron so that it's going to match up with the way I've inked the plexi. And then, that's crucial.
Yeah.
And then I'm rolling it, the apron and the paper and the inked plexi below through the press, and then taking off the apron and pulling off the paper, and there it is.
So basically the pressure of the press transfers any texture that's on that apron.
Yes.
It's going to go push into the paper.
Exactly.
And then hit that ink.
Right.
So you're essentially getting a drawing of the object. I guess ostensibly you could put ink directly on the apron and do something, but then that's your apron.
Exactly.
you couldn't use it again.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I've seen printmakers do that.
Yeah.
With dresses or something, and they keep using that same, they just leave it inked up, and then they use it again for I don't know how long they can use it.
Yeah.
But this worked for me.
Yeah.
And it's magical. So especially the folds of the apron will print, so it kind of ends up having this translucent quality that's kind of ephemeral and, and I think that's perfect for aprons because they're a lot about memory and, we don't wear aprons as much as previous generations.
Yeah.
So it's a nice way to create an image.
Well, and a lot of that work comes back to your grandmother.
Yes.
Again, coming back to that show you did here, where, a lot of the works in that show were the apron pieces.
The aprons, because she was always wearing her apron. That was a huge part of her identity.
Yeah.
And then also in Oaxaca, when I first started going there, I'm sure you also noticed, the indigenous women, they wear their aprons all day. So they're coming from a rural part of Oaxaca, coming into town to sell their jewelry or whatever, and they're in their apron that belongs to their community. It's a certain material, a certain style of apron.
Yeah, this is not something you pick up at Bed Bath & Beyond
No.
or something.
No,
these are handmade, hand-stitched, beautiful.
Yeah.
Pieces of art that, they're functional and part of an identity. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So interesting.
Have you played around with other ways of doing trace monotypes, other garments, other types of objects?
A little bit I have. Yeah. And, with various results.
Yeah.
As a printmaker, you never know,
Yeah.
But with various results, I've tried doing the wheat peels also. And but there you don't have the wrinkles or the folds as much as you have with an apron. So it's a little different.
Yeah.
But and then you can do a trace monotype also with just using that same technique, and instead of placing an object on the thin paper, you just trace something on the back of the paper. You just draw something with an object, or you take any kind of object to rub it, and then you put it through the press, and then you peel off the paper and you see what you've got. And it's wonderful. I've done that in drawing classes, Instead of drawing from the model, I'll do trees monotypes.
Yeah.
It's a lot more fun.
Yeah.
More mysterious, like, oh, how's it going to come out? Oh,
Yeah. They really do feel magical. I mean, I think, having that sort of transformation, it's funny because in a certain way it is like a copy, right? In thinking about printmaking too, there's that whole discussion around copies and originals and uniques and all those kinds of things.
Yeah.
But it becomes something new at the same time, even though you're transferring information in a very direct way. It's I think people really, once they realize what they're looking at, it's a real kind of aha moment.
It is, and thanks to like Echo a Mano or places where prints are shown, people begin to realize how it's a very special process.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of skill. So yeah.
And so lately, you've been kind of getting back into these larger block prints. And so coming back to maybe some of the pieces in the window, one piece that stands out to me is this blue table piece. Can you talk a little bit about where the idea for that came from?
Yeah, so all of the pieces in the window came from just little parts of maybe a print that I made, years ago. So I had done a little table like that. It was about 2 inches, in a print. It was from a drawing I had made, sitting at a restaurant and just drawing the tables and seeing what was on the tables. And I always liked that little table.
Yeah.
That little print on that area of the print on that. So I for this show, I chose little areas of prints I had already made and just blew them up. I just thought, well, okay, I'm going to take that little area right there, that little table that I did, and blow it up to see what it would look like if I did it really large.
Yeah. And
that one was kind of hard because it seemed so mysterious when I was cutting it out with my my saw, my jigsaw. It just seemed like I don't know how this is going to look. I had done like these tumbleweeds and stuff that seemed like, oh yeah, I see how they're going to look, But that one was kind of mysterious, but it's my favorite one. Yeah. Because I think putting the shadow on there too, and then it was hard to ink up. It took some time to ink the block each time for the print. But it just has a wonderful quality that I'm very proud of. Simple. I sometimes used my electric carving tool because you can really, you're not putting pressure as much, so you can just really flow with it. Yeah. And so I use that quite a bit with these wood blocks. Yeah. They're really, really wonderful, and again, to see that comparison, to see the block, to see the print, a lot of people, we have that conversation a lot about what am I looking at here, and sometimes people will ask, is this a print? And I know they're not talking about woodblock, litho, etching. Right. They're talking about a digital print. Right. And so I have to kind of like fish a little bit. It's like, well, yes, but what do you mean? Are you and I think seeing the block and the print together is like, oh, right. It is original and it's a print. Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, as the years go by, there's more and more confusion about what's a print. And so, we have to do a lot of educating, and that's why it's nice to show these blocks along with the prints. Totally. And having the name, I hope Echo a Mano conveys handmade, right? Handmade. But sometimes it does. It's not always clear, but it's cool. It's great to be able to have an opportunity to help people learn what they're looking at or understand what they're looking at. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I love working on all kinds of materials. So that these blocks are a mahogany plywood.
Okay.
And so it was a mahogany on the top, and then a filler of MDF, and then a pine on the bottom. So yeah, so you can see the grain of the mahogany.
I like that. Yeah, those blocks especially, the grain really comes through. It's a nice element. Yeah.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah.
hmm
Cool. Few sort of slow round questions. Can you think of an artist or even a specific piece of art that was kind of an aha moment for you that either like changed your trajectory or said like, oh, wow, you can do that? Someone, an art piece or an artist that had a real impact on you in maybe earlier days.
Well, for me, as a printmaker, I think I'm constantly I'm constantly doing
Yeah.
that, getting that aha moment with a lot of different printmakers.
Uh-huh.
Because I feel like printmaking is kind of a lifelong learning.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the tango or something. You can't just go, oh, yeah, I'm going to take this 3-week class and then I'm going to be a tango dancer.
Right. Right.
So
There's so much to learn.
so much to learn. So I've had those aha moments as I learn, looking at prints and maybe meeting the printmaker, especially if I'm in Oaxaca. It's very easy to meet the printmakers. And now I can see their process and understand their process. And then here in Santa Fe, we have wonderful master printers too that I've learned from. And you take a little bit from each one. You learn a little something different from each one. Maybe it's the inking, or maybe it's the way they the papers they choose. There's so many elements in printmaking.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think there's like, there've been people maybe who have held my attention for a couple of years and then I move on to some new printmaker. Yeah.
Well, I think that goes back to the community aspect of it, that it feels so baked in and how technical it is. It really is amazing how willing so many printmakers are to share their knowledge.
Yeah.
And I think coming back to A, it being super communal, and B, super technical, those together make like such a rich resource of community that you can tap into and learn all about.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And that's such a beautiful way for me being in this gallery, is because my community goes all the way from Santa Fe down into Oaxaca and back. And, and for example, Enrique Flores, he is so giving in his knowledge and his will, and he prints for other people all the time. And he's got community workshops with kids going on, and sharing. Yeah, we're not afraid to share. I'm constantly sharing tech stuff with other printmakers, and they share with me. And it's not a bad thing to ask them, oh wait, how'd you do that?
Yeah.
And they'll tell you, oh, I did it, this is how, because they're excited that they've done it, too.
Yeah.
There's so many things you can do with printmaking, so
Yeah.
it's such an alchemy.
Totally. What is a really valuable piece of advice that either you've been given or that you would give to a person starting out on their creative journey?
Well, I just tell everyone, I tell them, go to the museums, just take in as much as you can.
Yeah.
Even ask as more established artists, hey, can I come by and see what you're doing? Or can I, I'm interested in your work.
I think that's huge, right? Because I think there can be a fear like, oh, they don't want to talk to me. Or and a lot of times they probably do.
They do.
They're eager to share.
They are very eager to share.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I tell them, just do as much as you can, take in as much as you can, meet with your group, your fellow painters or printmakers, and share stuff, and, go to drawing groups and just do it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. And then is there anything that you're reading or listening to outside of making work that's inspiring to you right now?
Well, I've been just looking at some particular people in my metaphysical world, that I'm very interested in and reading what they have to say. I'm in a Jungian dream school, and that's been very interesting because I have such vivid dreams, and I've always thought, gee, I should pay attention to these more. And since my work tends to be more like grounding, this is something real that I've seen and I'm putting it down. But so now I'm taking my dreams and trying to make them visual.
Interesting. Yeah.
Especially with the Jungian idea.
So are you drawing from the dreams?
I'm drawing from the dreams, yeah. But I'm working with ball grain plates that they make at Takach. And it's kind of a lithographic process, because to me a dream is, it's not it's kind of ethereal. So I chose the ball grain plates because they have such a fine texture.
Yeah. Wow, that's cool.
So I'm learning that, and luckily we have so many Tamarind graduates around.
Yeah.
Who are eager to put their skills into practice. So I invite them over.
That's awesome.
Hey, do you want to come over? And they're willing to, because I don't know that process, the ball grain. So I have a wonderful guy coming over once a week, and we're working on the ball grain together. It's an etching process, but it's not real chemic. You're not putting things into liquids that are very toxic or anything.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of gum arabic and greasy materials. So we're doing different ways of making those plates. So I'm trying to kind of execute my dreams.
That's great.
If possible.
Oh, that's exciting. That I bet that'll really open up some new areas for you, because your work is in subject very grounded. And to bring into something that's more psychological, ethereal, dreamlike. I'd be really interested to see where that goes.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It's challenging.
I bet.
It's very challenging.
I bet. Yeah.
But I think it's good.
Yeah.
It's a good challenge.
Yeah. Cool. So your installation will be up in the front window through the end of February.
Okay, great. Yeah.
And so please, if you're in Santa Fe, come by and check it out. We have your work available at the gallery as well. And we look forward to whatever comes next from you and whatever might find its way at the gallery. So
thanks for honoring my process and my journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.